Pokemon the movie. I choose you! So I got the DVD for this a couple of days ago, £7 in Tesco's, put it on straight away, and I have to say I was amazed instantly. When I first found out about this movie, I was under the impression that the whole thing was based on the original episode of Pokemon. The first episode, where Ash meets Pikachu. I thought the whole thing was about that. I was wrong. But I didn't realise that straight away. No. The film starts off like the episode did, with a battle in the Pokemon League. Alright, I got a bit pissy, thinking, no, it wasn't between those two Pokemon. You were right with the Gengar, but you were wrong pretty much everything else. Then it clips to Ash, and we're introduced to the little shit, and how rubbish he is at being responsible. Hence why he smashes his own alarm clock. Although for some reason, unlike the old TV series, it doesn't tell you why he did this. In the TV series, it told you about his dreams and what he was dreaming about. This kind of rushed it. Of course, he was late going to get his starter Pokemon. And this is when I really started to notice things that pissed me off. 1. Professor Oak sounds like an absolute gimp. I won't lie, I don't watch the Pokemon anime nowadays, so if this is the new voice actor for him, Also, there's a part where you see that Gary is the person that chooses Squirtle. No! Back in the day, he got the secret Eevee. Lucky bastard. But when we see Ash and Pikachu meet for the first time, I can't deny it's done really well. Just like the original episode, we can see that Pikachu doesn't like Ash, kinda like a lot of people don't nowadays. And they stuck to the tale that Pikachu hates going in the Pokeball. And we even see Ash dragging Pikachu along by some sort of cord, although for some reason he's not wearing the rubber gloves. Yes, I know, I'm analysing it too much, but I'm nerding out over this. Anyway. One thing leads to another. Ash fails at catching a Pidgey, Ash fails at catching a Spearow, he pisses off a lot more Spearows, they all chase them, ruddy-rah, they run into a lake, there's a Gyarados, nice little nod to the old episode, and then of course the Spearow catch up with him and beat the shit out of him. And this is the part when I no longer started analysing things and I started just enjoying it. On the original episode, Ash gave a really emotional performance as to why he's going to become a Pokemon Master, and that is what made Pikachu save Ash from the Spearow. Now when they started doing this in the movie here, I thought, yeah, they're going to butcher it, they're going to ruin it. No! They actually did a very good job. Not only have they managed to match that emotion, but I feel they've managed to make it more real. This isn't just some overconfident little shit of a kid that no one can really stand these days. It's the voice of a kid who had a dream to become something awesome and he was determined to make it happen. And save his new friend in the process. Then Pikachu leaps to the rescue, defeats the Spearow, and the only thing I don't like about that is the fact that it didn't get hit by lightning like in the fucking episode. I know, picky. So about 15 minutes in, and that's it. That's all there is of the first episode. Now the movie progresses on its own. So I was very surprised because I was completely wrong about it being nothing but the first episode. So through the opening credits, we see Ash and Pikachu going through their adventures in the Kanto region. And for some reason, it all really starts off with him in the 4th gym, earning the Rainbow Badge, with no Misty and no Brock. I can see how a lot of people are going to get really pissed off at this, because this isn't so much a retelling of the story, as it is just completely erasing what happened and making it up from scratch. After that, Ash and Pikachu are in a Pokemon Center in Who Cares Where, when they hear gossip that an Entei is around. So of course, like every other trainer in the Pokemon Center, they run off to go and look for the bugger. And then there's Team Rocket, who serve no purpose in the whole movie. They're there every so often, they don't even talk to Ash, they're not funny, they're not the comic relief, they're not the relief of any kind, they're just there and no one gives a shit. So Ash finds Entei and that's when we meet not Misty, and then not Brock. The names of these two characters really aren't all that memorable, but throughout the movie we will learn more about them and they do actually become quite interesting and quite likeable. Which is very surprising, because normally when new characters come into a Pokemon anime, I don't give a fuck. So Entei gets away, surprise surprise. Ash argues with his 2 new partners, surprise surprise. And then soon after, an actual surprise. Ash finds Charmander. The Charmander that was left by his original trainer on some damn rock in the middle of the rain. Now in the TV series, the trainer that owned Charmander originally wasn't much of a character. He was there, he was annoying, meh, not a very interesting character, but then again he was only there for like 1 episode, so he wasn't really going to be an interesting character, was he? Now they've gone and changed that drastically. Charmander's original trainer is now called Cross. I wonder why. Maybe he's just very, very angry. So Cross, like the original Charmander owner, only values strong Pokemon, and kind of reminds me of the rival for the Pokemon and Silver and Gold games. This again, like the start of the film, was very emotional. The only thing that was stupid was that Charmander was out in the rain. Its flame was getting wet. There was no leaf to cover it from the rain. This is dopey. But at least when Ash tries and carries Charmander off to safety, he does try and cover the flame with his jacket, so that's something. Then Ash and Not Misty find Not Brock again, and Not Brock soothes Charmander back to health. It's at this point that we learn what the main story actually is in this film, and it's all about Ho-Oh, the bloody big rainbow bird that Ash first saw in the original episode. Now, as far as I know, in the TV series, Ash never really did much about finding Ho-Oh, even though that was the first legendary Pokemon he ever saw, and it was a defining moment in the history of the anime that kinda got swept under the rug. It turns out that Ash is the rainbow hero, because he's got a feather. At this point we also learn about a new Pokemon called Marshadow, whose purpose in the film is questionable at best, but whatever. Further down the line we find out about Ash's Caterpie evolving into Metapod, Charmander growing into Charmeleon, and then Charmeleon facing off against his original trainer, and getting his ass kicked by a giant pissed off Garfield. Very unexpected. But that's good, because to be fair, Pokemon movies are usually quite predictable. And I did not see this coming. I honestly thought, here we go, Charmeleon's gonna kick its ass, what a surprise. And I was wrong. And this film did this to me a lot. It proved me wrong in many ways. And I'm glad of that, because it makes it more original. Ash gets his knickers in a twist about Charmeleon losing in a battle, and so he wanders off into the woods like a moody little girl. It's at this point that Marshadow appears and sends Ash to a dream world. This dream world is colourless, lifeless, miserable, and it's actually our world. It's the human world as if Pokemon never existed. Everything's dull, everything is grey. There's very little joy to be found, which really puts the message across about what Pokemon can mean to people and how it does add colour to our lives. I know, I'm probably overanalyzing that as well, but fuck it. I thought this was a nice little touch. So, of course, after realising that this reality is bloody horrible, Ash delves after a Pikachu-like silhouette and returns to his own world. It is after this that we bear witness to something that is truly amazing in this film. Not Brock tells a little bit about himself when he was a child. How his family had their very own Pokemon that used to protect him when his parents went away on business or whatever. One day, as a stupid little boy, he went out on his snowboard and stacked it into a tree. Knocked out and unable to move, he was pretty much screwed as a blizzard started. Then the family Pokemon found him, kept him warm by hugging him closely, and it died. The Pokemon froze to death, keeping him warm. A Pokemon died. Dead. Holy fuck. Has that ever happened before? Has a Pokemon ever actually died in one of the movies? I won't lie, I haven't seen all of the movies. I saw up to like the one with Celebi in it and then I got bored shitless. Normally when a Pokemon dies within the anime, 5 minutes later, it's come back to life because reasons. No, this Pokemon is fucking dead. And the way this part of the story is told is so sad. It could make a child cry. Couldn't make me cry, of course. I've just got something in my eye. And if that wasn't emotional enough, later on we go to what is one of the saddest parts in anime history, as far as I'm fucking concerned. Bye Bye Butterfree. In the original episode, this bit was incredibly sad. I mean, you couldn't believe that Ash was saying goodbye to one of his best Pokemon. His first ever caught Pokemon. So, like at the start of the movie, you think, yeah, you're not going to be able to do this bit justice. You're going to stack it. But the movie did a tremendous job of it. You can see the emotion in Ash's eyes. It's incredibly emotional. Except for one point when Ash looks like he's been kicked in the nuts. And while I'm at it on the Butterfree thing, I have to say, his eyes look a bit weird this time. It looks like he's just discovered caffeine. Anyway, I digress. This part, yet again, is another incredibly emotional piece of storytelling. Not long after that, Ash reaches a rainbow mountain by following his feather. One thing leads to another with a fight against that cross prick. Loads of Pokemon get possessed by Marshadow because reasons. All the Pokemon attack Ash, and Ash gets annihilated. Now, granted, this is a lot like what happened in the first movie when Ash got stoned off his nut. We know, obviously, that Ash is going to come back from the dead at this point. In fact, we knew that in the first movie when he was stoned. But in the first movie, Pikachu cried and made everything so emotional. You just felt like you were going to wallow up inside and become teary-eyed. Now, can this film top that? Well, kinda did. Pikachu clutches Ash's hat and tries to put the hat back on him before he fully disappears. Pikachu becomes so incredibly wrecked and torn up, crying its little eyes out. Then it does a nuclear explosion for a move. And it really is quite a beautiful moment in Pokemon history. Pikachu does something else, but I'm going to keep that bit secret. You want to find that bit out, you'll have to watch it for yourself. Soon after Ash's obvious return, Ho-Oh appears and they do the final battle, which isn't all that epic. But it doesn't matter, I didn't really feel disappointed because of all the other awesome battles going on throughout the entire movie. And then the whole thing ends, with Ash saying goodbye to not Misty and not Brock, and they all head their separate ways. Incidentally, you do see Misty, but in the credits. And you do see Brock, but in the credits. You also see all the other annoying little fucks that have appeared throughout the other TV series that I really don't give a shit about. But in a nutshell, this film was amazing. It was heartwarming. It was sad. And I know I've used this word a few times throughout this review, but it really was so emotional. If, like me, you're kind of addicted to the old Pokemon ways, or if you're one of the people that just love everything Pokemon, you're gonna love this movie. It offers you so much, and it truly is memorable. I reckon this is one of them films that if someone's lucky enough to watch it as a child, they will remember it forever. Kinda like a lot of us remember the first movie. It will have that kind of impact. I highly recommend you watch it, and I just ask you to keep your mind open. Don't try to be tied down to things like I was at the start, when I got pissy that Pikachu didn't get hit by lightning at one point. Or the fact that Ash wasn't wearing rubber gloves, for fuck's sake. Just give the film a try. If you're a Pokemon lover, then you will definitely love this. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Gamepoke, and my first movie review. If you enjoyed the video, please click like, or leave a comment. And if you want to help the channel out, please click subscribe. It really does help. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.